Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
Bahamas, so many people out there want to become citizens of our country. We have to be proud that the world wants to come to the Bahamas, and you have a role to play in terms of building your country, building your nation, getting it strong, getting it vibrant so that we can move forward into the future. We made some mistakes over the last 50 years and 7 months. We have to correct those mistakes because we must make sure that we are going to get this country on its feet. Now, I just want to give you something right here at the top of the show about our fundraising, Global Communications Network at the Bank of the Bahamas. Let me make sure I get that right now. I was to say Bank of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but it's Bank of the Bahamas, Global Communications Network. And the bank branch is 031580001. 13503158001. And the account number is 135 0002677. Let me repeat that. 135002677. That's the account number for Global Communications Network at the Bank of the Bahamas. And the post office box is EE15884. P.O. Box EE15884. We're seeking your support. Financially, Bahamians, you've told me how much you appreciate the show and you want Professor and his team to be able to move forward. We want to go throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas doing constitutional conferences, constitutional town meetings, constitutional things for the entire Bahamas, Bahamians. We have a lot of work to do to educate the masses on the Constitution. We're also going to support those patriotic Bahamians who have taken action for the things that are happening to us. A lot of you have been complaining about it for years, 50 years and so many months. So the thing is that Bahamians, you and I have a responsibility to make progress. We have a lot of problems right now. We're seeking your support in being able to move forward, because that is the way it has to be. It takes a collective effort. Article 24.1 of your Constitution says that we have the responsibility and the authority and the power to protect our interests. Do not leave it to some other people who don't care about you. We made some serious errors over the last 50 years and 7 months. Bahamians, it is high time to correct it. So these patriotic Bahamians have come together to make that first move, to take appropriate action that is essential and necessary to move the country forward. And you are encouraged to support us financially so we can go throughout this country. And of course, I want to tell you about my lines. My lines are completely down. I couldn't get one single call out today. Completely gone, Bahamians. And I told you I need to get a communications network to assist me whether I'm on any island, rock, or key in the Commonwealth of Bahamas and be able to reach the outside world. I cannot wait for these fellows who keep telling me they're investigating. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. So it's important that we get that work done right here, right now. And we want you to start sending in your contributions. Some of you may have sent some contributions in from yesterday, but please support the Patriots, support the work that we're doing. Send your checks to Global Communication Network at the Bank of the Bahamas. I gave you the account number. I'm going to repeat it several times in the show so you don't forget. I want you to know it like you know your name, so you do not forget. We're looking at Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is an extremely large audience down there. We're looking forward to getting down there and into working with those people in Grand Bahama and Abaco and Eleuthera, Exuma, and all the family islands out there. Now, my special guest today is Mr. Moultrie. He is a renowned attorney, and he has some input on our national issues and things that affect the Bahamian people. He's one of those patriotic lawyers or attorneys in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Mr. Moultrie, welcome to the state, the Global Radio 99.5 FM. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor. It's certainly a pleasure to be here, and particularly to discuss the issue that you have raised and trying to get throughout the archipelago to educate Bahamians with respect to the foundation upon which we are building this nation. The Constitution is the supreme law of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and it is the foundation upon which we are building this nation. So any breach to the foundation weakens the entire structure. And over the past 50 years, we have seen several unconstitutional acts come to Parliament, and we've seen the government act in an ultra-virus way when we consider the provisions of our Constitution. And so our house is now beginning to show cracks and it's now beginning to crumble. But it's not too late. I believe we still have sufficient patriotic Bahamians throughout the archipelago, from Great Abaco in the north to Great Inagua in the south. There's a reason why I think God allowed greatness to be at both ends of the archipelago.
Very interesting.
But we have to be much more aggressive and assertive in what we are doing as citizens in the Bahamas. And I support the comments which you made earlier to get the Constitution in the schools to begin to teach our young people from a very, very early age what our fundamental rights are and what the Constitution provides for and what it doesn't provide for, how the government should function with respect to the three arms of the government that are set out in the Constitution. We have the number one arm of the government, which is the legislative arm of the government. And I say that is the number one arm of the government, which is the Parliament of the Bahamas. the House of Assembly and the Senate, representing the Parliament of the Bahamas, because the number one arm is the only institution, the only branch of the government where the entire population is represented.
Yes.
Every single citizen, every island, every key, every sea in the Bahamas represented in the Parliament of the Bahamas. No other branch of government can make that claim. And the second branch of the government, which is the executive branch, has usurped some of the functions and powers of the Parliament by this the very act of not following the Westminster model of government and the constitutional provisions of the separation of powers. And so, in the process, they have also weakened the function of the third arm of the government, which is the judiciary, which really should be functioning as the conscience of both the first and second arm of the government. In other words, if Parliament attempts to pass an ultra-virus act, in other words, an unconstitutional act, the judiciary has the responsibility to examine that act and determine whether or not provisions of that act are unconstitutional and ultra-virus the Constitution. Likewise, yes. if the government initiates any policy or takes any administrative decision, the judiciary has oversight to the point where the judiciary can, through judicial review, can determine and can quash a decision of the government or determine that a policy is ultra-virus the Constitution. But what we have seen over the years is the erosion of the powers of the judiciary and the erosion of the functions of the Parliament by the executive branch of the government. So the executive branch of the government has gotten to a position now in our country where they are accountable to nobody. There's no transparency and there's no accountability. They have wiped out the concept of the backbench so that the executive branch of the government now is so large that it outnumbers the backbench and the opposition combined.
Yes.
So it makes the Parliament a rubber stamp of executive decisions.
Yes.
Where the Prime Minister can come to the Parliament knowing that he has enough votes in the executive branch of the government to pass any law.
Yes.
And that is never, ever good. As a matter of fact, if we follow the House of Commons in England, when our rules and procedures of the House of Assembly is silent on any issue, we should adopt the rules and regulations and the procedures of the House of Commons. Well, in the House of Commons, which has over 650 members, they are not allowed to have an executive branch of the House of Commons that is greater than 18% of the composition of the House of Commons, which means that whenever the executive branch enters the House of Commons, it has to persuade at least 80% of the House to pass a bill.
Yes.
And in the Bahamas, the opposite is when the executive branch comes into Parliament, they have like 55 to 60% of the composition of the Parliament.
That's a majority right there.
That's the majority right there, and that makes it practically impossible to carry out the oversight function. You know, the Constitution under Article 72 gives the Parliament oversight function
of the executive.
Of the executive.
Yes, sir.
And they are answerable to the executive. But now we have degenerated to the point now where the Parliament of the Bahamas, the executive branch that is, decide on occasions not to even answer any questions.
That's correct.
That's where we are.
Yes, sir.
So I am so happy and excited that this group of patriotic Bahamians have identified me and have retained me to take this legal action.
Yes.
And this legal action is really on behalf of the entire nation.
That is correct.
Those 7 men and women who came forward and joined me into their action to make 8,
Yes.
we really represent the entire archipelago. Because what we are trying to do is to right some wrongs that has been happening or have been happening for the past 50 plus years.
That is correct.
And some of my colleagues in the profession have called me and told me that, boy, are you trying to turn the country upside down? Well, Jesus went in the temple and turned the temple upside down because some wrong was going on.
That's correct.
And so sometimes you have to reach a point where you have to decide enough is enough, and it's time to turn over the tables in the temple. And believe me, the Bahamas needs some tables turned over.
Yes. That is very important, Brother Moultrie, because the thing is that's why we're working so hard to get Bahamians to understand the importance of the supreme law of the land. I remembered a particular personality told me many years back, and I was out talking about the Constitution, and it took the country 50 years to wake up when the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, died almost 2 years ago. And the people began to look seriously as our relationship with the monarchy in England. And I am delighted to see that Bahamians are now waking up, and even since this particular action has been brought forth to the public, more and more people are calling and saying, Professor Thompson, what is it that we need to do? How can we help? How we can assist? And we need the assistance of every patriotic Bahamian who will become a defender of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because the Constitution is our salvation document, along with the Holy Bible. Because remember now, we are under what? The supremacy of God. There are some persons in our midst who do not believe in God. They have brought their own gods, their own ideas, their own concepts, and they want to be citizens in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but they do not come into the concept of what our nation ought to be. And unfortunately, with too many of us, we have been laid back, and we are now beginning to wake up. And Bahamians, you got to move very, very quickly now, because our time is extremely limited. We must do a great work within a very short period of time. And that is why you will be hearing me calling on you, seeking your financial support, seeking your prayers, seeking your concerns, seeking your support in being able to deal with these national issues. And according to Article 24.1 of the Constitution, we must move together to protect the interests of this country. We cannot, and I've said to activists before this action even came about, that there's something you have to do. We don't want to go talking for the next 50 years and 7 months. We can't do that. We have to move forward by correcting the wrongs that have been committed over that 50 years and 7 months. We cannot continue to allow things to run amok in our country, and having all kinds of strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders who are not a part of us. And so the country is catching trouble because they are saying it's the Bahamians who are doing all of this stuff that you see happening today. I believe my producer is signaling to me that we have a caller on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson.
Good afternoon,
good afternoon to your guests.
Yes, Brother Halson.
I called today to embrace the workings of the Patriotic 8 and plus 8 plus, because like you and your guests are saying that we need every Bahamian to come on board.
Yes.
Every Bahamian. But what I have realized, being a member of the Patriotic 8, that we were all 8 of us were chosen by the Almighty God for this purpose before we even understood what was going on. See, them other fellas in them other groups, the red group and the yellow group and all them other groups,
yes,
they weren't chosen.
Yes.
If you look at Halson Moultrie, Mr. Moultrie was in the parliament kicking up dust way before he was identified.
Yes.
He didn't even know. You, MacArthur Walter Thompson, you were always out there to the point where you was making us mad with this Article 24.1.
Yes.
But we didn't understand for years why he was pushing it.
Yes.
Myself, the same thing. Philippa Lady Russell was ostracized when she stood for Bahamians years ago. The same thing with me, and blackmail was identified alongside. So this act is an act of the Almighty Creator. This is His way of helping us to save our country where God lives.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
And I would really like to make a special thank you to Mr. Halson Moultrie for being the stellar attorney that he is, for being one of the first ones to ever take up the mantle to defend his Bahamaland, his country, against those unscrupulous politicians and whomever else. I would really like to thank him, and we are proud that he's a member of the Patriotic 8. So the rest of you Bahamians, get on board, because this is all about you. It's not about politics. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, caller. And the caller is 100% correct. It is a move of God. God works through people, mysterious ways, His wonders to perform. And it took 50 years plus for this to happen, because you had so many entities out there. I know I was out there for years talking about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and people thought I was talking nonsense and foolishness. I stick rigidly with the Constitution, even more so now than ever before, because I knew that the Constitution is always right. It is never, ever wrong. Now, some people might not agree with that, but if you could find anything that could trump the Constitution, there is nothing that could trump the Constitution. So the thing is that we have the Holy Bible, which is the Word of God. We're a nation under God, and we have a very powerful document. Praise the Lord. What the founding fathers gave us, and we as Bahamians have not fully understood. That's why we're going through this exercise all across the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And I'm going to repeat those numbers again so you will know it just like you know your name, because we need your support now more than ever before. I believe we have another call on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Yeah. See, like Mr. Moultrie. Yeah. Like Mr. Moultrie saying, see, this country need to be guarded out like you're guarding out a fish, because we as a small nation, Drexel Gomez said, if we love you, we will lie for you, and if we don't like you, we'll lie on you. This country is going down south, and everybody's afraid to stand up and really, really speak the truth. And this is the reason why we see how this country is going down and stuff like that. Until we stand up as a people and really express ourselves and say what it is to God clean up this country. This country's in a mess.
Yes, sir. It
And
is.
people don't even people don't really understand it. When I look at Abaco, those houses are built with block. You gonna tell me ain't nobody see those places was going up? Everybody turned their head to the north and say, "Well, we ain't see nothing going on." And now we come to this problem. So anybody come in this country, do what they want to do, and nobody saying nothing. You see, we get this run allegedly escaping the Bahamas and going off and running this place
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Caller, thank you for your contribution. I think we have something else we got to get to. We will go forward from here. Thank you, caller, for your contribution.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another caller, Mr. Producer. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Professor.
Hey, how are you?
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. I'm just concerned about the things that are hurting the Bahamian people, and we are working hard to make sure that we correct the wrongs that have occurred over the last 50 years and 7 months during the time it became an independent nation, because there are some people in this country who are Bahamian citizens who believe we're not an independent nation. I heard that kind of nonsense on the radio just this morning. But this is the kind of thing we must correct and move forward. Go ahead, caller.
Man, you're doing a wonderful job, and I am so happy to know that you have Mr. Halson Moultrie with you, man.
Yes. I'm pleased to have him on the show.
I like him. I like him, man. I love him, and I just wanted to give you all a foretaste of what I see what's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Moultrie and yourself, you all got to prepare yourself. This patriotic act can turn into a political party, you know. And Halson Moultrie could be the prime minister, and you could be deputy. Trust what I say to you, because you all got all of the Pinland and Ingram and those. They started off just like you. You all, you know what you all are doing. You know, fighting for the people. Fighting for the people. And Halson Moultrie going to be prime minister one day. Take what I tell you today, Professor, and you will be right there, deputy.
Caller, thank you for your comments. Let me just say this to the Bahamian people. I understand what the caller is saying, but let me tell you right from the top. We are organized to get the Bahamian people involved to understand the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're not a political party. We're not into that. We are here to get the Bahamian people to support this nation and anyone who is in the government of the Bahamas to go by the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We've been making that kind of mistake for 50 years and 7 months. We don't want to go through that nonsense again. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Once you are organized according to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, all wonderful things can happen in this country. We're going to a break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. I have my special guest, Halson Moultrie. We'll hear from him right after the break. Thank you very much.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim space entire.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
We are back. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. I got to get these numbers right, you know. And so it's important that you realize how important this work is that we are doing. Global Communications Network is the name of the account. The branch number is 031580001, and the account number is 135-000-2677. The Village Roads branch of the Bank of the Bahamas. At Bahamas, I want you to remember this like you know your own name, because we're going to need the support of patriotic Bahamians throughout the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have to have constitutional town meetings. We have to have constitutional conferences. We have to have constitutional community meetings in the different areas. You know, this island has plenty islands, plenty rocks, and plenty keys. We have to reach these people. Also, I will tell you that my lines are completely off. You're not able to get me, but we have to create an alternative to that because the work must go on, Bahamians. And I'm going to say right now, I need some transportation. I'm hoping for a donor or a sponsor to come forth and provide us with a vehicle so we can move swiftly throughout New Providence, because now I can't call anybody and they can't call me. And that is a distraction to the work that I have to do and the team has to do. So I'm asking a sponsor out there, can you please donate a vehicle? Please, because we need that urgently. We have some people who are disabled, who are going to have to move from place to place, and we need your support. We have to do these meetings to educate the people on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas so they can make sound decisions and good judgments. And of course, the post office box, I forgot to give you that. P.O. Box EE15884. P.O. Box EE15884. For those persons who may be living in areas where you may not have access to the internet, please drop that check in the post. Global Communications Network, put it in the box, and we will get that to help the cause of what we are doing today. This is a national cause, Bahamians. We have to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Our salvation document is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We don't have anything else to go on, Bahamians. Everything that we do must be constitutionally sound. And I say to people, if you have a disagreement, please tell the team from the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas where they have erred, and we will go along with you. That's the way it is. I want to bring my guest back on. Brother Moultrie, come back on, please.
Yes, the last caller, Professor, made a statement with respect to an end goal for our group. But I want to assure the Bahamian people that this initiative that we are on transcends political boundaries.
It certainly does.
This is not a political issue. This is a national issue grounded in our Constitution. And we need to step forward as Bahamians to show our patriotism and our nationalism, because I am of the view that the Bahamas is being invaded and is about to be annexed if we don't take a serious position. And I say that because we are a small population. We are less than 500,000 indigenous Bahamians, according to our last census. And we are faced with human trafficking and illegal migration from nations that have millions and millions of people. Not only that, we have a porous border structure because we are an archipelago, and we don't have the resources to man our borders properly, so we are being exploited. And so we need to make certain that the government understands that they cannot use the circumstances that we find ourselves in to manipulate and exploit the situation to make certain that they dilute our sovereignty by granting persons citizenship and naturalizing persons in an unconstitutional way.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. That is a major problem we have.
It's a major problem, and it is not isolated to any one government. We're talking about 50 years now.
Yes.
50 years. We've had multiple governments. I've been a part of one. I've already had my political experience. That's not my goal at all. But I thought for the experience and the exposure, because I have some scientific training, and I was able to see that beyond the personalities of politics, we have a systemic problem in the country.
Yes.
And I don't know if Bahamians have recognized it, but no matter who comes to power, our complaints are the same.
Exactly.
I did an analysis many years ago, long before I was even an attorney in 1994. I analyzed our Constitution because after having my experience in Barbados, when I was studying meteorology, I discovered that Barbados was so much like the Bahamas, and almost all of the complaints and problems were identical to those in the Bahamas. And I asked the question, why is that happening? But I had some understanding from system analysis and design that systems usually produce results.
Yes.
And no matter who are the managers of that system, if they function in breach of the system, you're going to get a perverted and corrupt result.
Yes, sir.
And most of these Commonwealth countries have taken these constitutions from the British. And I remember the late Paul L. Adley used to say, the British will put some things in place, especially in the law, and you don't get a revelation for the importance of what they have put in place until you tamper with them.
Yes. Yes.
And what has been happening over the years is we've been tampering with what we inherited from the British.
Yes.
To the point where we have resolved to conclude that because we are a small nation, we should do things differently in the Bahamas.
Yes.
We are using the Westminster model, and we're saying, well, we can't go according to what the conventions of the House of Commons because we do small, which to me is absolute nonsense. That's almost like telling the Cadillac dealer that you're not going to use the type of fuel that he recommends because you moved the car from the United States to the Bahamas.
Yes.
But this is the type of nonsense that we've been doing over the years because there are small pockets and groups of persons have been benefiting from the nonsense and the breach of our Constitution and our systems of governance. And so we've gone from a white oligarchy to pockets of black oligarchy, but in the meantime, the majority of the Bahamian people are just becoming beasts of burden. Yes. Taxes are continuing to increase upon them, and the governments over the years are becoming less and less accountable.
Yes, sir.
Less and less accountable. And this is not to any one specific grouping. That is what Bahamians have to realize. You know, don't get emotional about this.
Yes.
You have to get patriotic about
Very
this.
patriotic about this, and I agree with you, Brother Moultrie, because this is why we're going to great lengths to explain to the Bahamian people the importance of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Even though the Constitution allows for political parties, a government is different from a political party. Bahamians, you have to understand there's a difference, a vast difference, because when you give people the authority to run your national affairs and become the government of the Bahamas, they ought to go according to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's why it is there to keep a government or persons elected or appointed to perform national duties on behalf of the Bahamian people, how they ought to behave and how they ought to conduct themselves. And so the Constitution is that document to keep everybody in the country in check. But Bahamians, if you go to sleep and you just roll over and let people do any and everything, you must compliment a government. When it goes right, you must help the government of the Bahamas to make sure that they are in line. There are times you have to say some things. Don't worry about the carnal flesh of these people, because God says he doesn't want any flesh to glory in his sight. It's a matter of doing what is right. It's a matter of doing what is proper. It's a matter of doing what is decent and respectful and lawful and constitutionally sound. So when an administration goes contrary to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, and they write them funny things on scraps of paper and say they're going by that, you have a responsibility to tell the government of the Bahamas, my brother, my sister, you're out of line. And that's what patriotic Bahamians ought to be doing. We should have been doing it over the last 50 years and 7 months, but that's water under the bridge, Bahamians. We got to correct the errors. We got to correct the mistakes. That's what this action is all about. Correcting the errors on behalf of the Bahamian people, all of us who are alive today, all of those little children. I'm sorry to hear about the two boys, 16 and 17, who were gone. They're not here today. It's unfortunate. In Bahamians, we got to help our young people too. We can't have people to be so hopeless in a land of plenty where there is constitutional soundness in our country and persons who do not even care. That is why it's important that you have to be thoroughly educated, soundly educated, so that you can take the appropriate action that is essential to move the country forward. That is what we want to see happen here. We must correct those errors, going all the way back to the beginning. You cannot have people. I don't want anyone standing beside me, sitting beside me with a piece of paper in his hand, and he's not a genuine Bahamian citizen. I have a problem with that, Bahamians. I've suffered enough. My mother and father suffered enough. All of our parents suffered enough. They had blood, sweat, and tears to get this country where it is today. And all we're going to do is sit back and allow people who don't belong here to become citizens of the country unconstitutionally. No, Bahamians, we must say no to that. Brother Moultrie, go ahead, please.
Yeah, see, sometimes I wonder if Bahamians understand fully the insidious nature of allowing persons to establish an illegal genesis. You see, when you allow a person to come in illegally,
yes,
he cannot function within the legal framework.
No, he can't.
And he develops methods and mechanisms to survive illegally.
Yes.
And what he actually does is he makes corruptors, he becomes a corrupter of public servants, because he has to do something that is not a part of the legal structure and the legal procedures to get ahead in life.
Yes.
And then the government rewards such a person by equating that person with an indigenous Bahamian. And in the process of doing that, it dilutes the indigenous Bahamian rights to the benefits that the country has to offer, because suddenly if you allow 50,000 or 100,000, or in our case, I believe is almost 50-50 now in terms of the population distribution in the country, in terms of those persons whose genesis is out of illegality.
Illegality, yes.
Right? You equate those persons with people who are indigenous citizens, and they come with a new culture, they come with a new history, and in most instances, they come from nations where they have basically run their nation into the ground.
Yes, they have. And that's what the Bahamians need to understand. You look at Sudan, you look at Haiti, you look at any number of countries, even in this part of the world, in the Western Hemisphere. You ain't got to go far. You are seeing what is happening in those nations where law and order is completely out of control. The governments are crumbling. The people are crumbling. They're fighting over a piece of meat. I heard some people who were killed are standing in line, Bahamians, to get some rice, some potatoes, and some things right in the Gaza Strip. They were slaughtered while they were on the line. Do you want to see that kind of nonsense happen in this country? We don't have millions of people. We are very limited in the numbers of persons we have. We need every single patriotic Bahamian soul to build the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because this is the country God Almighty has given us. They have theirs in Sudan. Those fellas have theirs in Palestine. Those fellas in Haiti, they got theirs in Haiti. That's why God set them there where they are. You don't come into somebody else's territory, break up your own house, and then what you think you're going to do? You can keep my house? The answer is no. You're not going to do it. So that is why it's important, Bahamians, that you must watch what those who are appointed, those who are elected to perform your national functions, and you have to question, is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? That is why it's very important that you understand the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Brother Moultrie.
Yes, it's so very important, Brother Thompson, when for you to examine what the government of the day is doing,
yes,
and the possible motives that could be driving certain policy taken by the government. Because I am of the view that what we are saying with respect to the shanty towns is what I call a political mirage. In other words, you see something, but it is an illusion. It is not real. Because if you examine it and all the circumstances of the case, you come to the Bahamian 25, 30, or 40 shanty buildings where hundreds or thousands of people were living.
Yes.
But there is no information being given to the Bahamian people with respect to the persons who build those structures.
That is correct.
They are the problem, not the structures. Even though we want to see building according to the building code and proper amenities and so on, and utilities in any development in the Bahamas. Yes.
Yes.
But if you, for example, in the Cool Acres area in New Providence, the night before the shanty towns were scheduled to be demolished,
yes,
there was a big fire.
Yes, it was.
Big fire. Some of the residents in the area accused the government of setting the fire.
Yes, I heard that.
And the government has said nothing or done anything. Yet the government has not come to the Bahamian people and indicated the Bahamian people where those persons who were displaced by the fire as a result of the proposal to destroy those shanty buildings, where are they?
That's a good question. Excellent question.
Where are they? Because those persons are the problem, not the buildings.
Yes, that is correct.
They are the ones who are in breach of coming here illegally, setting up illegally, transacting illegally, engaging in illegal businesses, sending their proceeds and profits out of the country,
That's
draining
correct.
the economy, engaging in criminal activity. I mean, you name all of the social ills, and they are part of it.
Yes.
So where are they now? Where are those persons from Grand Bahama and Abaco, where those shanty towns were just recently demolished?
That's
and
correct.
My question to the government is, how much of the taxpayers' resources are you using in social services to assist persons whose genesis is the foundation is in illegality? How much
a good question.
The Bahamian people, the taxpayers are being utilized to support these people? What kind of arrangements have you made as a government with respect to granting these people crown land? Because I saw a program where one of the members from the Cool Acres community indicated that they were meeting with the government with a view of gaining crown land. Now, Bahamians, first of all, should take priority.
Yes.
No non-Bahamian or illegal immigrant should get priority over an indigenous Bahamian with respect to the grant of crown land. So every Bahamian who wants crown land should make application now. Yes. And every Bahamian, indigenous Bahamian, should take priority when it comes to the government issuing crown land. And the government also should not be in the business of allowing illegal activity in the passport office to the point where persons who are not Bahamian citizens are walking around in the Bahamas with Bahamian passports.
That's an issue I'm going to be dealing with further in the show. I'm glad you mentioned that, Brother Moultrie. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good day, Mr. Thompson.
Good day. How are you?
And good. I'm good. And good day to you,
Brother
your
Halson
guest.
Moultrie, yes.
Yes. I want to ask a question. Like Mr. Moultrie was saying about all passports that these people have, and I'm sure these people who have our passports, they go to, because most of them want to go to United States. And so when Trump gets back in power now, what is going to happen? Because Trump then said he can deport everybody out. So are these people coming to the Bahamas?
That is a good question that you ask. And some things we are not sure of what the government is doing, because sometimes when you try to get information, you don't get an answer, a straightforward answer. But we have to just keep digging, and whatever information we have available that is accurate and precise, we can bring that to the Bahamian people. But it is an excellent question that you asked. Brother Moultrie might have a comment on that. Brother Moultrie?
I'll hang up.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm in the process of doing right now. I'm drafting 2 letters because I am sick and tired of hearing about the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
It's time for us to also challenge the system and demand information of the government. I am writing a letter to the Department of Immigration, to the director, and to the passport office, to the chief passport officer, and those letters will be copied to the cabinet of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yes.
I want to know, I want statistics. For the past 50 years, I would like to know how many naturalization certificates were issued under the Bahamas Nationality Act.
Yes, sir.
And I would like to know the origin of the persons who were the beneficiaries of those certificates.
Very good question.
I would also like to know how many citizenship certificates have been granted to persons and made persons Bahamians since 1974, July 10th.
Yes.
Because we need to know.
We need to know. Yeah, that is correct.
There, since we launched this initiative and filed this lawsuit, Brother Thompson, I've been amazed at the feedback that I've been getting from Bahamians all over the world.
Oh, that's wonderful. I like that.
From all over the world, they're contacting me and asking questions. They want to know, for example, how many of those persons who have been registered have been a part of a scheme where unpatriotic Bahamians have been signing off as the father for kids being born in the Bahamas.
That's a good question.
They want to know, for example, how many marriages of convenience have been happening to the point where some of them are alleging that one person has been married 4 and 5 and 6 times, and every 2 years or less, there's a divorce, and the male marries a new foreign female.
Yes.
They want to know, for example, how many adoptions have taken place where you naturalize a person as a Bahamian citizen or grant a citizenship, and then that person marries a foreign person and adopts a number of children of the foreign wife.
Yes.
You see, these are all schemes that are apparently happening right under our nose, and someone is benefiting.
Yes, someone is benefiting.
Someone is benefiting. There's some Benedict Arnolds in our country who are treasonous in their behavior with respect to exploiting human life and the perils of human existence.
Yeah.
And those persons need to be discovered and really penalized and brought before the courts and punished
correct.
For their activities. And so this initiative, to me, has been an eye-opener with respect to the concerns that Bahamians have. You know, you would think you're walking along and you're going right along, and you don't get the feeling that Bahamians are concerned, and it seems as if they were just waiting for an opportunity for someone to step forward.
That's how I felt during the first 50 years. I remember when I started out right at the very beginning, and I was talking about the Constitution and emphasizing the need of the Constitution for the governance of our national affairs, and Bahamians were fast asleep. But the point is, as I said earlier in the show, one man told me that's just a piece of paper. I hope he's not thinking like that today. Hopefully he's still around.
But point, that's how they treat the Constitution just like a piece of paper.
A piece of paper, yeah.
Unfortunately, some members who are elevated to the positions of members of Parliament, they treat the Constitution like it's just a piece of paper.
I agree with you. I'm going to expound on that when we get back. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We're having an interesting show. Brother Halson Moultrie is my special guest today. And we continue to listen. And please call in 326-0271, 326-0272. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We'll be back after the break.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fence, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We're having a great show today. My special guest being Mr. Hallie Moultrie. I just want to read some information through here. The Global Communications Network is the name of the account. The bank is the Bank of the Bahamas. The branch number is 031580001. 031580001. The account number for the Global Communications Network is 135-000-2677. 135-000-2677 at the Bank of the Bahamas. That's the Village Road branch. The numbers to call in: 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the Watts line is 801-0271. The Watts line 801-0271. Bahamians, we're asking you to please send your contributions in to support the great work that we're doing. We got to go all over the country. Our constitutional town meetings, our constitutional conferences, our constitutional community meetings all over the country. We want to reach everybody in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We need to get Bahamians to become patriotic because we have a great work to do, Bahamians, in order to try and save this place. This is very, very important. So we have been having some problems over the last 50 years and 7 months. And I forgot to give you the post office box number, P.O. Box EE15884, P.O. Box EE15884, for those persons who may not be able to get online and maybe in a family island somewhere and they're listening to the show. Please put that check in the post and get that to Global Communications Network at this station. So it's very important, Bahamians, that we participate. We need patriotic Bahamians. You heard Brother Moultrie mention a whole number of issues that are affecting us in this country. And Bahamians, we have to deal with that. Mr. Producer, we have someone on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Professor, and good afternoon, Mr. Moultrie.
Yes.
This initiative is indeed one, very, very timely, very, very necessary based on all that has been going on in this country and is still going on over the last 50 plus years.
Yes.
We need to know, because I don't know any part of the legislation that you could draft any law in Parliament that trumps the Constitution.
You cannot.
I've never. This is what is sort of staring to me. It is just foolishness.
Yes.
This act that they use, talking about the Naturalization Act, but it can't trump the Constitution. The Constitution is clear as to how and where and when one can be granted citizenship.
That is correct.
It is absolutely clear. It set out the condition, the terms and conditions under which one can be granted citizenship in the Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely clear about that.
Yes, sir. You're quite right.
And what I'm looking at is initially when we got majority rule in '67, we only had a cabinet of 8. So how it get to 28? From 8 to 28?
That's an interesting thing.
From 8 to 28, and there's no accountability at the end of the day. So you can't have a parliament that has no one to answer to. Parliament is sovereign, but it has to function in the manner prescribed by the law.
That is correct. Caller,
and so I'm all aboard. I'm all about getting on board this. I will use everything in my powers to make my contribution known in every way, financial and otherwise. And
yes,
I would
sir.
like to be a part of this team. We got to get it going.
Yes,
get it
sir.
done.
Okay, just leave your name with the producer because I want to get in touch with you.
Okay, sir.
And your number and everything. Now let me just say this before I ask Brother Moultrie to comment. Bahamians, we have had certain personalities in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas who have been given the opportunity to run our national affairs, and they treat the Constitution as a piece of paper. Just like the man told me many years ago, oh, that's only a piece of paper. We have to be very careful of the personalities we elect to run our national affairs. We have to be very careful of the personalities who are appointed as representatives of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Watch them fellas now who got dual citizenship. The Constitution does not support that, Bahamians. How can you be a representative of this country? You got one citizenship over there, one citizenship over here, and some of them got 3 and 4 citizenships. Where are we going with that foolishness? Bahamians, you have to be able to know when things are happening contrary to your best interests. That's why you always let me talk about Article 24.1 in the Constitution. It's the only place in the Constitution, Bahamians, that we have the authority to organize ourselves for the express purpose of protecting our interests. And you heard all the things that Brother Moultrie said, which are happening right now in this country. We have to be constitutionally organized in order to protect our interests, and there's a proper way to do it. We have not been doing it, Bahamians, but now we got to move very, very quickly because time is short, very, very short, to do the things that are essential to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because we have too many fraudulent people in our midst. Strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders. I've never seen this nonsense like it before. But we have to take the necessary action that is essential to preserve the country, not only for us and our children and our grandchildren and all these other people who are genuine Bahamians. I can't have no fellow sitting beside me with a piece of paper in his hand and he's a fraud. I cannot tolerate that. You should not tolerate it either. Producer, we have another call on the line? Oh, we don't have a caller. Brother Moultrie, you can come back in, please.
Yes, I have.
Don't mind me. I'll talk till the man come back.
I have before me right in my hands.
Yes, sir.
I have the Constitution, and Article 72 of the Constitution says there shall be a cabinet for the Bahamas, which shall have the general direction and control of the government of the Bahamas.
Yes.
And shall be collectively responsible, therefore, to the Parliament.
Yes, that's
now,
correct.
The previous caller was asking how we got from 8 to 28.
8 to 28, yes.
And I read that article to show you the motive behind getting from 8 to 28.
28. Yeah, I agree with you.
You get to 28 in a parliament that has only 39 seats.
Yes.
Right? Which
That's
means
right.
you only have 11 members left outside of the 28.
Outside the 28, that's right.
Now, when you examine what we have in the Bahamas today, the only members of the governing party that are not a part of the executive branch of government in the House of Assembly would be the Speaker,
yes,
the Deputy Speaker, and the member for Sea Breeze.
Yes.
Which means that everyone else from the 32 is a part of the executive branch.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
What that effectively does is kills Article 72 of the Constitution.
Correct. That's correct. And you notice in the Constitution, and let me just put this point in while I remember, Brother Moultrie, the Constitution gives a minimum number for the cabinet.
Yes.
It doesn't give a maximum number to the cabinet.
Exactly. That's the argument.
That's the argument. We need to deal with that.
Yes. A flawed argument in my perspective, from my perspective, because number one, what is also clear in the procedures of the Parliament, the House of Assembly in particular, is that wherever the constitution or the procedures of Parliament aside, we are to adopt the conventions of the House of Commons.
We haven't been doing that.
And I
haven't been doing that
earlier that you cannot get up to 20% even of the House of Commons as a part of the cabinet.
Yes.
And it is not sufficient to say we need a bigger cabinet because we have a small country and we only have 39 seats. That's exactly
correct.
why we should have a smaller cabinet.
A smaller cabinet, yes.
Because
8 would be sufficient.
8 or 9 would be sufficient. It could even be a little higher than that, into the teens. But it should never get into the 20s.
20s, yes.
It should never get into the 20s. Because what that effectively does is that, first of all, it binds members of Parliament not to be able to speak on behalf of their constituents.
Now, that's another problem that we have. Are we getting parliamentary representation from those personalities who've been elected to Parliament? Are we getting that? Yes or no? Are they acting constitutionally? And I'm glad, Brother Moultrie, you brought that up, because there is a role that these people have to represent their particular constituency in the House of Assembly. And that is a major problem. Go ahead, Brother Moultrie.
But that is one of the fundamental purpose of the Parliament.
Yes, that is correct.
A representative function. Where if you examine the history of the Bahamian Parliament since 1729, you would discover that a lot of activities happened in the Parliament based on the petitions of the people that were presented to Parliament by their representative.
The representative, yes, that's correct.
Now, nowadays, if the representative is a part of the cabinet, he is bound by the collective decision-making process of the cabinet.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And he cannot act in a manner that is inconsistent with any decision taken by the cabinet.
Yes, that is correct.
So if the people of his constituency wants him, like I was explaining to some of the members when I served as speaker.
Yes.
When they wanted to vote against the VAT, the increase in VAT, I explained to them that as members of the cabinet, you can absent yourself from the Parliament if you disagree with a cabinet conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot publicly disclose your vote by voting against a cabinet conclusion.
Yes.
Because the Convention of Westminster calls for your termination, your resignation, or your termination from that position, because you would be in breach of the collective decision-making process.
That is correct.
And so what the prime ministers have been doing from the Gussie May cabinet days is they've been controlling the actions of most of their members by putting them in the cabinet.
Yes.
Now, what I recommended as the speaker when I was advocating for an independent parliament was that instead of putting the argument forward that you have to try and find a way for the members to earn a better pay grade,
yes,
by making them ministers of state or parliamentary secretaries and so on, you can simply increase the members of parliament's salary and allow them to remain on the backbench so that they can actually represent their people.
Yes.
But of course, that is not in the best interests of a prime minister who wants to operate like a tyrant.
Yes, sir.
He wants everybody under his thumb and under the threat of being terminated if you don't do what I say.
That's correct.
Once he appoints you, he also has the discretion to disappoint you.
Yes, he can. He certainly can.
And so what happens over the years is, even though men and women would disagree with some of the policies and conclusions of the cabinet, when they look at how it can affect them financially by being disappointed, they would back off.
Back off, yes.
And fall in line, and we would get the circumstance that we are facing in the country today.
That is correct. And Bahamians, you have to understand, this is very important. I'm happy to have Brother Moultrie on today to explain these things. He understands what is going on. Bahamians, we've got to be aware of how this system ought to be working. We also have to be aware of what the government is doing, which may be contrary to what ought to be done, so we can take the necessary steps that are essential to change things in our country. We have a beautiful country, but we can't just sit back and allow a government to run amok. We must not let that happen.
And to run the country like they're running a criminal enterprise.
Yes, running it right into the ground.
Corruption and blunder.
Bahamians, we've got to be aware of what is going on, and we have the authority by the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to take the necessary appropriate action when a government steps out of line. And that's why it's important that you listen well and try and learn from those of us who know better to help you to understand, because there are some, who have had tremendous benefits. They're not prepared to help. They're not prepared to share. And so we got to note those things. We know exactly who they are, and you can know exactly who they are. But the point is, we need quality representation in the House of Assembly. We need quality representation for the parliamentarians who are supposed to be there. And if we don't insist on some things and raise our voices and take the necessary appropriate action, again, Article 24.1, and some of you may get tired of me saying that, but I have to stick rigidly with the Constitution. And the Constitution says that we can take the necessary protection and the action that is essential to protect our interests. Don't leave it up to some other people to do it for you. It will never, ever be done. And we have 50 years and 7 months to prove it. But Moultrie, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is a difficult situation that we find in.
Yes.
Because, what has happened over the years, Brother Thompson, is the governments have created a system that victimizes people. For example, the public school system. It creates a lot of dysfunctional people.
Yes.
Because they've introduced this concept of social promotion and displace and replace the merit system in the public school.
Yes.
We are constantly hearing about these D averages and D grades.
Yes, I have.
System. So we were releasing like 3,000 to 4,000 persons out of the public school system every year.
Every year, yes.
Dysfunctional persons. And we compound that dysfunction by making them exist in an environment where it appears that criminality is something that can be rewarded.
Yes.
So persons who have been engaged in activities that were once criminal activities and who got their financial foundation from the proceeds of crime are now glorified businessmen because the government, again, passed an unconstitutional law when they came to the Bahamian people in a referendum according to the Constitution, and the people voted no.
That's correct.
The government went contrary to the Constitution and to the people and legalized the number racket through the Gaming Act.
It certainly did.
And as a consequence, many, many, many Bahamian families are suffering today.
Yes.
As a result of their hope being placed under the microscope.
Yes.
To the point correct. Where they are trying to get something for nothing.
Yes. Yes.
Planning a little bit. They're trying to get success without a process.
Without a process. Boy, isn't that something?
And even if you look at nature tells you have to go through a process.
Oh, yes.
Even our very existence, we started crawling around, creeping around as infants before we were able to walk.
That's right.
We were able to run. And then when we got up on our feet, we had to go through a period until we get into our teens to begin to get an appreciation, and before we reach adulthood.
Yes, that's correct.
But we want we have a microwave generation today. That's why we have so many murders.
Wow.
Because persons who benefited from criminal activity in the country are now running the country.
Yes.
And they are known to the criminals, and the criminals are known to them.
To them, yes.
Answer me this question. With all of this crime going on, why hasn't the government taken an initiative to get rid of these high-powered army-type weapons that could never be licensed in the Bahamas?
That's an interesting question. And Bahamas, we need to consider that, because we are seeing blood in the streets with high-powered weapons. In fact, these fellas who are doing it put so many bullets in their victims to make sure they're completely dead. Very, very bad for the country. The Bahamas is getting a very bad.
Brother Thompson, what is so frightening about that?
Yes.
Is these men are reckless with these automatic high-powered weapons.
Very reckless. You're quite right.
Innocent people are being sprayed and hit by stray bullets.
Right.
Go after their intended targets.
That is correct. I think we are going to a break again. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My special guest, Mr. Halson Moultrie. We're having an interesting show on Bahamas. We'll get back after the break. Thank you very much for listening.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
We are back. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. I want to give you this most important information. Global Communications Network is the name of the account. The branch number is 031580001. I repeat that, 031580001, and the account number for Global Communications Network is as follows: 135002677. Let me repeat that: 135002677. That's at the Bank of the Bahamas, the Village Road branch, and the post office box number is EE15884. PO Box EE15884. This is for you to send your contributions in for the support of these nationwide constitutional town meetings, constitutional conferences, constitutional community meetings, because Bahamians, we must get to every island, every rock, every key throughout the Commonwealth of Bahamas, because we want to get people to understand the Constitution. So whenever they act, they're going to act constitutionally and be constitutionally sound. That is the only way we can build our country. The numbers, of course, 326-0271, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp number is 801-0271, 801-0271. I believe we have a caller on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Professor Thompson.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Moultrie.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
For
sir.
the purpose of clarifying, the Commissioner of Police, he has immunity, doesn't he?
You asked if the Commissioner has immunity?
Yeah.
I know he has constitutional authority. Is that what you're asking me?
No, he's the one person, the police commissioner, who can arrest anyone.
Yes, he can.
And as I'm understanding, because of our setup, the system, he is the one person who can go in and arrest from the sitting Governor General down
Yes.
to
the average
all the members of Parliament, etc., etc., etc.
Yes.
He has that immunity.
Yes.
And therefore, what the British, they did design it so that if there was an uprising against the Crown, that the police commissioner can arrest the people who are involved, and he's backed up by the Defense Force Commodore.
Yes, okay.
And I'm simply wondering what has changed from
that time up to now?
What is his status now? On the other point, I want to find out: can his senior commissioner of police act as supposed master since he is acting as the top cop in the land?
Okay. Well, I know the Constitution has not changed on the powers of the commissioner. I can tell you that much. There has been no referendum on it. He has constitutional authority and he has the right to carry out his office independent of the government. But the thing is, we've seen how things have happened because every time a new administration comes along, we got a new commissioner. Something is happening there. I'm going to allow Brother Moultrie to speak on this. I think he can give us some insight. And so, just hold on. Brother Moultrie, would you give us some insight into this?
I think the challenges that we've seen for the Office of Commissioner and several other key positions in our government, is that they have become politicized.
Wow.
And you are right, Professor. Every government changes, the Commissioner of Police seem to change.
That's correct.
And it's gotten to the point now where it has reached the prison. It has gotten to the point where the Chief Justice seem to be appointed politically.
Yes.
And there seem to be no independence of the judiciary, the Commissioner of Police, and certain other high-ranking official positions in the country.
Yes.
It gives the appearance of bias when it comes at selective enforcement of the law. For example, if persons are being selected because of political reasons and political affiliations, obviously they will have certain sympathies that will cause them to act much slower when it is one of their affiliates or a person who is politically connected to the organization that they support, as opposed to acting when the opposition is involved or someone who is suspected of being in opposition is involved in committing any criminal act. And so that is never, ever good for a country. As a matter of fact, that is one of the indicators that we're moving towards a failed when you see political interference reaching the level where there's the appearance of like cultic appointments to preserve the governing party, either to maintain the power that they have or to protect them should they lose power by having certain persons in position where they know if an action is brought or if the police is required to do something, the police will be reluctant to enforce the law, or the courts would be biased in the decision-making process because they feel a certain loyalty to the parties that appointed them. And we are seeing this is becoming extremely blatant now as we descend into this abyss, I would say, of corruption and plunder. We're seeing too much of it now. That is why it is so important what we're doing, because once we are able to re-establish our foundation and begin to close up those cracks that has been causing our house to really begin to fall apart.
Yeah, that's correct.
We would likely see a more nationalistic and patriotic response.
Yes.
And we're likely to really become a country of laws.
Yes.
As opposed to being a country of politics.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is the caller still there? Caller, did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that,
you can give your response.
Brother Thompson.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank Brother Moultrie-29Feb24 again for explaining.
Yeah,
There's one request I have, Brother Thompson.
Yes, sir.
That a supplement be published as to will show exactly the ministers, who they are, and get rid of all of these honorable lists, because there's nothing honorable about them as they sink our country into this abyss.
Okay.
And I thank you very, very kindly, both of you, for your explanation.
Caller, just hold on, because I didn't get the first part of what you said. What you said, you wanted a summary of...
No, I said I wish a supplement be published.
Okay. On that
so it could be circulated.
Yes.
And so Bahamians at large will see and read for themselves what is what.
Okay, that is a good suggestion. We're going to work on that. And thank you for your call.
And I thank you for accommodating me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, all the best. Yes, we've had some interesting calls today, and I'm happy that we have Attorney Halson Moultrie with us today to give that explanation to the caller. Because Bahamians, we have some cracks in our system. The country is beginning to crumble, and we have to take the necessary action that is essential to protect the interests of the Bahamian. In every way possible, your financial support, your moral support, your prayers, everything counts. We need patriotic Bahamians to step forward. You love this country. You love how beautiful it is. You love the peace and tranquility we have enjoyed since 1729. Although we have some problems in this land, we don't want to see it become like what's south of us, Haiti and some other places. And even in Guyana and those other places, they're having trouble. But the African nations are having serious challenges with democracy. You've had in Sudan, for example, the overthrow of the government at that time, and now you got two fellas fighting. And they have destroyed a lot of people. Now you also have in Ukraine, where the president is asking the Russians to say, go on, talk peace now. But look at the damage, Bahamians. Look at the thousands of persons who have been slaughtered. And people standing on the line in Gaza waiting for some food, waiting for something to eat, slaughtered right there while they were waiting. Bahamians, we don't want that kind of nonsense to happen here. So we have to do all in our power to protect the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for ourselves and future generations. Brother Moultrie, go ahead.
Part of the problem most third world countries have is that we have had leaders elected to govern our people, and our leaders have to recognize that they are not the master.
That's correct.
And so they still have a particular philosophy that the redemption that the Bahamas needs is founded in foreign investment. And now it is not a xenophobic approach. We do need some foreign investment. We don't want to say we want to exist in isolation, but we need to be interdependent. We cannot continue to just, in our number one industry, for example, we don't own any of the major hotels.
No, we don't.
We don't even know how to construct a major hotel.
Yes.
And in our banking industry, likewise, we have one or two Bahamian banks, but the majority of the banking system and the insurance system in our nation is not controlled by Bahamian ownership. And so we keep looking to those who colonize us, those who oppress us, and those who subjugate us for the remedies that we seek.
Yes.
And I think a part of the problem that we're facing in the Bahamas and that Haiti is facing and so on now is that there is a different form of colonization taking place.
Yes.
And the stories that you mentioned, or the events in Sudan and in other African nations now.
That's correct.
They are not internal problems those countries are facing, a lot of those leaders are being funded externally to cause a certain level of disruption within those countries to keep them in a dependency state.
That's terrible.
And that is what is happening in the world today.
Yes.
And that is why you see no one besides some of the African nations, basically, and the Caribbean countries that are being directly impacted by what is going on in Haiti, are prepared to come with resolutions.
Yes,
You
sir.
see, what happened to the United Nations and the United States and some of these other major industrialized countries with respect to Haiti? Why isn't there some humanitarian aid and military forces going in there to bring about proper democracy and good governance in Haiti?
That's a good question. Yes.
You see,
That's
because
something that needs to be considered.
decisions have been taken not to do it.
Yes.
And likewise, the Bahamas is in a vulnerable state where we are spending much more than we are generating in terms of revenue, and we are continuing to borrow. And the Bible tells you the borrower is slave to the lender.
That's the position we're in.
The deeper you get in debt, the deeper and the tighter the stranglehold of slavery becomes on your people.
And the Constitution. Go ahead.
So the Bahamian people are facing conditions like they never ever faced before, because this country, despite all these large numbers talking about with respect to tourism arrivals, the Bahamian masses are not benefiting from those large numbers to the point where there's outcry. I just had 2 days ago, straw vendors came to my law firm seeking to retain my services because they are being displaced by certain policies and by certain political decisions again that would appear to be benefiting certain fractions in society to the detriment of the many.
Yes.
And that is what is going on. We have the system has degenerated to the point where we are functioning, running the country almost like we're running a criminal enterprise.
Yes,
it's regrettable, but that is where we are at now, and that is why we need the patriotic and nationalistic Bahamians to come forward to try and save our country from Great Abaco. I always say Great Abaco in the north to Great Napa in the south.
Yes.
We need the patriotic Bahamians to come forward. We don't need you to make any major contributions. Most of us don't budget down to $100 in a month.
Yes.
In other words, most of us at the end of a month don't know where at least $100 went.
That's correct.
So you can put that $100 into a good cause to try and save the country, because believe it or not, if we are able to save the country and to make sure we function according to the Constitution and according to the laws, you would be amazed at how beneficial that would be to you in transforming the nation and improving your lifestyle and way of life.
I agree with Brother Moultrie on that point.
Yes, you'd be able to fully participate as opposed to being a spectator and only having 10 minutes of glory every 5 years when you go in that box full of emotions and mark an X for someone who, after gaining that support, is not bound to represent you, but to represent a political organization.
Right.
That is the danger and the damage that party politics has caused in our country.
Yes.
After every general election, almost 50% of the population are eliminated from the productivity line.
Yes.
And the particular party that is successful believes that they're only obligated to those who voted for them.
Yes.
Or supported them. And the other persons who have great capacity and great capabilities to advance the development of the country are left on the sideline for 5 years, and some go off to university and never return and give that benefit to some other foreign jurisdiction.
That is correct. And I understand that has been happening for a long time. The Bahamians, we've got to wake up to realize, and there are some who want to come back home, which is a good thing. We need all patriotic Bahamians to be on board in helping and assisting the patriots to be able to advance the cause, because it's going to benefit all of us. We're going to be out of this slump that we're in. And it is most important that we recognize that we have a responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to our children, generations yet unborn. What will those people think about us who were here today in 2024, did nothing, but allowed the country to keep sliding into oblivion? Bahamians, we cannot afford that. It is most important that we understand the quality of the people we send to the House of Assembly to do our business. That is extremely important. We haven't been making good choices over these many years, but we have to correct the cracks. We've got to correct all of the errors that were made over that span of time. We're going to a break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson with my special guest, Halson Moultrie, an attorney at law. We'll be back after the break.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels, so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Track Life, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
We're back. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We're about to close out the show, but I want to get this most important information to you. The Global Communications Network at the Bank of the Bahamas, Village Road branch. The branch number is 135000. No, I'm sorry, the account number. Let me make sure I get it correct now. The account number is 135 000 2677 135 0002677, and the branch number is 031 58001 135 031 1580001. So that's the branch number. And of course, we're asking you to support us. The box number is P.O. Box EE 15884. P.O. Box EE 15884. Please send your contributions in, because Bahamians, we're going to need your support to be able to get all over the country to reach the people. So we're counting on you. This is a national objective, and we have to be successful at it. So we're asking your support. Brother Moultrie, give your closing remarks, please.
Yes, Brother Sidney, I just want to make sure I convey to the Bahamian people that this is not a political initiative.
Yes.
This is a national patriotic initiative. And don't allow anyone with no skin in the game in terms of the Bahamas future to persuade you to act in a political way with respect to this initiative to save the Bahamas for Bahamians. This is not a PLP or anti-PLP initiative, and this is not an FNM or anti-FNM initiative, nor is it an initiative by any other third political party. This is an initiative to galvanize the entire Commonwealth of the Bahamas to maintain the nation that we have come to love and know for our future generations, and incidentally for our continued enjoyment while we are alive. We cannot allow the invasion of persons who have destroyed their country come into our country and flex their muscles and destroy our country and our way of life. That's as simple as it is. And any governing authority, no matter which party they are from, that appears to be complicit in any action that will dilute our sovereignty by the granting of citizenship to persons undeserving in an unconstitutional way should be condemned and removed from office.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Brother Moultrie, for your comments. And Bahamians, I'll be on tomorrow on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We're going to exercise that show. We're going to ask you to call in your constitutional questions. I'll be here to answer those constitutional questions. I know a lot of you have questions on the citizenship of this country. You may have some national issues you want to bring up. And what does the Constitution say about those issues? We'll be here tomorrow. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Thank you for your participation. Have a very pleasant good evening.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B.